In today's video, I would like to walk you through some of the most prestigious and great neighborhoods in the Toronto area. Some may argue that it is luxurious and the most expensive in the city, but it is unquestionably ideal for families and children's education. The main reason why I'm giving you the tour is because I'm working closely for a client that's going through this analysis and the journey to find his lovely home. If you are curious about this neighborhood, stick around right after this. Hi there, welcome back to AV Team Real Estate channel. I'm Antonio, a local real estate agent in the GTA. We post all related real estate content in the GTA, and if you find our videos informative and like our content, don't forget to smash the like button and consider subscribing to our channel. And more importantly, if you like to chat with us about the current real estate market, don't hesitate to book a call with us using the first link in the description, or simply call text with this number on the screen and I'm happy to assist. Without further ado, let's dive into the criteria of my current client that is looking to relocate from overseas to the city of Toronto. They are a family of 4, including 2 children and one going to junior and the other to elementary school. They would prefer a detached home with 4 bedrooms and multiple bathrooms in a neighborhood accessible easily by TTC or subway. A budget that is less than 3.5 million. Yes, there are some choices in some of the most desirable neighborhoods in Toronto, and we narrow it down to these neighborhoods. This is the Toronto Real Estate Board map in the city of Toronto. The area within the red circle is where we wanted to focus. If you are not familiar with the destination in the Toronto board, here is the broad view, and these are the area we were focusing: C1, C2, C3, C9, and C10. Within those municipalities, we are going to narrow down to the communities that the client were interested. From the C1 section, we have Trinity Bellwoods. Trinity Bellwood is an inner city neighborhood in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It is bounded on the east by Bathurst Street, on the north by College Street, and the south by Queen Street West and by Dovercourt Road on the west. It has a large Portuguese and Brazilian community, and many local Lusitanian Canadian businesses are located along Dundas Street West, continuing west into the Little Portugal. The neighborhood takes its name from Trinity Bellwoods Park, built around the former Garrison Creek ravine. I pulled up the most recent listing and past sold comparable in the area within the last 6 months that are under 3.5 million. Usually when we compare in a smaller community and restrict to just detached home with pricing restrictions, we get a smaller sample size, and with our current market situation, more listings are getting terminated, suspended, or expired when sellers don't get the desired prices for their homes. Let's take a look at the past sales comparables, all within the past 6 months. There are really only 5 homes that were sold during this period, so this average table really does not tell you much about the overall market, but you could see on a very micro level how this neighborhood is doing. The average listing price was about 2.49 million and the sold price was about 2.65 million. As of the recording of this video in mid-September of 2022, you will probably be expecting more or less for this price. Let's look at this listing that was sold in April of this year. 375 Shaw Street was on the market for 14 days with over 3,800 square feet of living space. Here are some of the photos of the renovation you would expect for something closer to 3.5 million. The next listing were sold in late April of this year, 328 Euclid, and this was sold in just a day. Here are some of the photos available for this incredible renovated home, but I think the main reason that this got sold so fast is due to the unique feature that caught the buyer. The rooftop vegetable garden was a solid design, giving the illusion of sleeping in a meadow. This home was sold over asking at 3 million. At 226 Claremont, it was sold in mid-June of this year. While interest rates are still rising, this unit sold for more than the asking price of 2.408 million in just 4 days. I would assume because the seller priced it very well and the renovation was quite nice and spacious. Let's take a look at the photos. Now we are looking at more recent homes that were sold in August of this year. 139 Rosedale is a smaller front lot detached home compared to the previous 2 that were sold in Trinity Bellwood, but nonetheless a well renovated home. This home was sold in 22 days, which is more resemblance to the current home market, and it was sold for 1.86 million, a 40,000 discount from the listed price of 1.9 million. The most recent sale was this unit that I brought the client to see, and it is at 382 Crawford Street. This is a decent size and top to bottom newly renovated home, which is also took some time to sell, was on the market for 38 days. This could also reflect more of today's market and sell for $2.475 million, a $100,000 discount from the $2.575 million asking price. Now moving on to the C2 area, and the Annex is where my client was interested. The Annex is a neighborhood in downtown Toronto. The traditional boundaries of the neighborhood are north to Dupont Street, south to Bloor Street, west to Bathurst Street, and east to Avenue Road. The City of Toronto recognizes a broader neighborhood definition that includes the adjacent Seton Village and Yorkville areas. The Annex, which borders the University of Toronto, has long been a student residential community. Let's look at the listing for the past 6 months again in the Annex for detached homes that have at least 4 bedrooms under $3.5 million. Again, we see many terminated, expired, and suspended transactions, but this time we have 9 sold and no new listing in the area. As you can see, there aren't really many transactions. The average listing price for this period of the 9 listing was $2.673 million, and the average sold price was actually down to $2.384 million. That is a big drop compared to the listing price. Let's pick some of the recent sales and see what they look like for prices under $3.5 million. 619 Clinton was listed at $2.588 million. It was last updated on July 19 and sold 4 days later on July 3rd of this year. Again, from the pictures, you can notice that the house was renovated from top to bottom with a great layout and by the designer, maximizing the space. The most recent sale in the Annex, 160 Howland Avenue, is a prime example of the kind of property the investor would look for. It was listed at $1.98 million and took 47 days to sell at $1.85 million, a substantial $130,000 discount. This is an obvious property where you need to put a big chunk of money to do the renovation to sell in the future. If the average price of a well-renovated unit in the same area is about $2.5 million, then that $1.85 million would have made sense if done properly. Oh, before I forget, if you enjoy this type of market update in a certain neighborhood, please like and share a video so that it can reach out to more people like you that would enjoy this type of walkthrough. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well. Now moving on to C3, and there are 2 neighborhoods that my client was interested. That include Forest Hill South and Yonge and Eglinton. Forest Hill is a neighborhood and former village of Midtown Toronto. Located north of downtown Toronto, it is one of the Toronto's richest and most affluent neighborhood, along with others like Rosedale and the Bridle Path. Numerous well-known business people, celebrities, engineers, medical professionals, and attorneys call it home. Yonge Eglinton is a neighborhood in Toronto at the intersection of Yonge Street and Eglinton Avenue. It is central to the area of Midtown Toronto, one of 4 central business districts outside downtown Toronto. It scored first in Greater Toronto in terms of housing, crime rate, transit, health, entertainment, people, and employment, according to a 2017 Toronto Life study. We discovered 17 sold homes in both neighborhoods in the last 6 months. The listing average price was $2.872 million, and the average sold price was $3.018 million. The average on the market is 23 days. At the time of recording, we only have 5 listings on the market combined. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most expensive neighborhoods, especially in the Forest Hill area, where schools are exceptionally well known. An interesting fact that we could quickly see is that in February, before the rate hike, 33 Hawarden Crescent was listed at $2.998 million and was sold for a whopping $5 million. We could only see that in an extremely seller's market back in the beginning of the year, when there was extremely low inventory and multiple offers were all over the place. By looking at the photos, it is clear that this home is not fully optimized and will have to be renovated to achieve the optimal value of the home. Although it took 60 days to get the sale, I'm sure it was worthwhile patience for the seller. Having said that, if we take a glance at the 17 sold property in that list, from April up until present, in this pocket of Yonge and Eglinton and Forest Hill, we don't see a major drop-off in prices, and the number of days on the market is looking great. Let's take a look at the most recent sale in 93 Castlefield, and through the list of homes, this was the most significant drop in price. It was listed for $2.149 million and sold for $1.9 million. That is a total of $249,000 in discounts. We could see the most recent effect on the interest rate hike in this property. Could we see more wiggle room in the future? That remains to be seen. The way I see it is that sellers start to adapt to the current market and therefore they tend to accept lower prices. As you can see, the photo of the homes show that it is still relatively in good condition, but it is somewhat outdated. That may be some of the reason why this property sold for less. Now moving on to C9, which is just east of C3 municipality. In this area we find Rosedale. Rosedale is a neighborhood in central Toronto that is known for the abundance of roses in the area. It is also one of the wealthiest and most expensive neighborhoods in Canada. Rosedale has been ranked the best neighborhoods in Toronto to live in by Toronto Life. Rosedale's boundaries consist of the Canadian Pacific Railway's tracks to the north, Yonge Street to the west, Elmer Avenue and Rosedale Valley Road to the south, and Bayview Avenue to the east. In the past 6 months, we have had 15 sales in total in this Rosedale neighborhood. Based on detached homes under 3.5 million, the average listing price is 2.808 million and the average sold price is 2.636 million. Again, the trend is also on the decline after the most recent rate hike. The average days on the market is 28 days at the time of this recording. There is only one new listing in the neighborhood and many terminated listings. Home in this type of neighborhood, the finishes and the renovation would account for more of the home's value. Let's look at 45 Standish as an example that was sold in late June of this year. This home was listed at 2.08 million and was sold for 2.11 million just 5 days later. Exploring the home's finishes revealed that it is very dated and could benefit from some newer and more modern upgrades. As a result, this home sold under the average price at the time. This is also a good example for home that listed for the right price and sold for decent amount of time. In contrast, let's look at the most recent sale in this immediate area at 33 Standish. This is just a few houses apart and it was listed at 2.995 million and was sold for 2.850 in 8 days. Let's browse the interior of the house and you will notice how updated and modern this house has become. The lot size compared to 45 Standish was also quite similar, but the renovation was the difference. As you may recall, 45 Standish was sold in late June and 33 Standish was sold in late August. That means even after the rate hike, 33 Standish with the updated renovation sold for 2.850 million. That means it still managed to get just shy of 700,000 more and also right up there for the average price that was sold in the area. Now, moving on to the last section in C10 for the neighborhood in Mount Pleasant East. Mount Pleasant East is bordered to the east by Bayview Avenue, Moore Avenue to the south, Yonge Street to the west, and Bellwood to the north. The people in this neighborhood are predominantly in their working years and enjoy house value well above the norm for the city. Again, in the past 6 months, we have had a total of 20 homes that were sold for under 3.5 million in this neighborhood, and with a similar average listing price of 2.607 million and the average sold price of 2.588. Let's take a look at a couple of homes that were sold recently. 29 Man, which was listed at 2.598 million, was sold for 2.530 million in 20 days. As for the pricing, it was just 68,000 less than the listed price. So let's take a look at the inside of the house and the property. It is well kept and updated with some modern touch. And let's take a look at the most recent sale in this Mount Pleasant East neighborhood at 356 Cleveland. This was listed at 2.395 million and sold for 3.01 million in late August this year, which is very recent after the rate hike. As you can see, this is a top design and renovated with high luxury home in mind. And as a result, it was sold for 615,000 above the asking price. This is also another example due to limited homes that are exceptionally done nicely. There is still a market for this type of home. I hope you enjoy a tour of luxury homes that are under 3.5 million in the heart of Toronto. So far, we covered this neighborhood in Trinity Bellwoods, the Annex, Forest Hill, Yonge and Eglinton, Rosedale, and Mount Pleasant East, all within well reach in the subway and the TTC. Feel free to skip to any section in this video to recap all the average selling prices in each of these neighborhoods. If you like this type of content and also like me to cover other area, comment down below so that I can make the video just for you. Don't forget to like the video and consider subscribing to our channel and hit the bell notification so that you can be notified when our new video is up. That's all for this video. I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.